Excuse me. Hey guys, yeah, welcome to this live AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view um, uh, preview, if you will, predictions, and yeah, got a lot to talk about here. Um, because tomorrow, of course, is their pay-per-view Double or Nothing, the annual one, and it is the first. It is the first, as far as major wrestling promotions are concerned. It is the first to have a full 100% capacity of people, of fans in attendance from the top to the bottom of the building. It is going to have people there to watch the event, and it's pretty much a lot like a lot of people have said. It's got a stacked card here, and a lot of folks that have previewed Double or Nothing so far have pretty much said that AEW has to bring their A game. That the wrestlers, the men and the women tomorrow, have to bring their A game when it comes to the pay per view, because it's like I said, it's the first in front of a full capacity of people. So they don't want to really let the guard down. Um, in any way, shape, or form, like they kind of did sometimes with the less capacity of people beforehand. And when you think about it, that really kind of brings into question how they're going to book this show. Because a lot of these fans that are going to be in attendance, some of them are coming from out of state because it's Memorial Day weekend. And also, those fans that are coming in from out of state have been watching AEW from home, and they've been seeing the pay-per-views from home, and how, in a way, AEW in some cases hasn't really, been stepping it up, if you will. They haven't been really stepping it up the way they should, and a lot of them that are talking about AEW um, for tomorrow are saying basically they need to step it up. They're going to have to step it up because if they lay an egg tomorrow in any shape or form during the event, they're going to get called out for it. They're going to get called out for it. But another thing that's interesting, I should say as well, is exactly where they're going to go, booking wise with the matches. A lot of folks that have previewed this, plenty of them have said they're going to go this way. They're going to go with this decision. They're going to go with this result because it makes the most sense and it'll lead to this and that. And that might happen. That might happen. Some of these matches pretty much kind of already spell out the outcome of what we're going to get. And if AEW and Tony Khan and the booking team are as old school as they seem to be, or they allude to, basically, or pay tribute to, pay a homage to, I would have to say that, what happened on Dynamite this past Wednesday pretty much kind of gave you a clue as to who may be walking out with the W on Sunday, tomorrow night. But it's a wait and see kind of situation. It's a wait and see kind of situation, if you will. But as far as I'm concerned, I look at the fact that AEW, like I said, they got a card here that is really really worthy of being a card that they could say, hey, we did that, we made that happen, we set the standard. They have basically here an opportunity. They have an opportunity to set the bar for a lot of other promotions to follow. Whether that promotion's WWE, whether that promotion's Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, MLW, AAA. They have the opportunity to set the bar, if you will, as far as how shows with a full capacity of crowd, a full capacity of fans, or near full capacity, you know, has to perform or has to, bring it, if you will. And like I said, they have that opportunity in front of them, which I think they need to honestly, you know, take full advantage of, no matter what the circumstances, no matter, what people may think of them or feel about them or how they do things. They need to honestly take full advantage of this no matter what. They need to take full advantage of this. And I think they will. I think they will. But again, what brings into question is how are they going to book the show? Because if you book it a certain way, then fans are going to expect you to follow that trend, or at least once in a while follow that trend, or bring that trope or trend back into circulation, so that nothing gets stale, nothing gets repetitive, if you know what I mean. So, again, they have an opportunity, in front of them to do that. They have a huge opportunity in front of them to do that, if you know what I mean. I mean, because if they don't, like I said, if they don't take advantage of this opportunity, it's going to make them look bad. End of story. It's going to make them look bad, and they cannot afford to do that. They cannot afford to do that, whatsoever. They have to take advantage of the situation. Now, I want to address something though before I really get started here with this preview and predictions. I want to address something real quickly, if you will, or if you'll allow me. You see, as I check something here. Okay, just making sure. But I want to address something really, really.
Hey, you want to get out of here? We've got you. During Expedia Travel Week, save 20% or more on thousands of hotels.
Hold on, what the heck is that?
Expedia. It matters who you travel with.
I don't know what that was. That was a ad that just suddenly popped out of nowhere. I'm sorry if you heard that. Oh, weird. Let me see if I. No? Huh, that weird. Looks like I got a bit of an ad pop all of a sudden. Sorry if I apologize if you guys heard that. That was an Expedia ad. I don't know how that got in there, if you will. I don't know if you guys have dealt with that before. But anyway, I want to address something, real quickly for, if you allow me to, before I get into the predictions here. Um, about about my fellow wrestling fans out there, fellow YouTube wrestling fans, reviewers, you know, uh, analysis, if you will, or analyze, if you will, whatever you want to call it, analysis, if you will, or analyst. That's the word I'm looking for. And my fellow YouTube fans, wrestling fans, reviewers, analysts, if you will. I want to address something as far as they're concerned, because I've kind of talked about this before, but I want to talk about it again because you see, I was watching Alex Hicks, just Alex, here on YouTube, formerly Deluxe Man. I was watching his prediction. His prediction show he did a couple of days ago, and he gave his opinion on who he feels will win, basically how he feels it's going to go, you know, and why it should happen a certain way, and stuff like that. And the way he kind of talked about certain matches, like when he talked about Kenny, like when he got to the when he got to the three-way dance, the triple threat three-way dance for the world title between Omega, Cassidy, and Pac. I heard what he said, and I respect his opinion because with this kind of match, it does favor someone like Omega. But it's what he said afterwards. And what he said afterwards was that, and he was giving his own opinion. He has the right to give his opinion on this. He said that this match is Omega's to win. We know that. And that this basically will lead to Omega dropping that at All Out to Hangman Page. He has been, and here's the thing about Alex, he has been consistent about that happening, about Page winning his match against Cage on the same tomorrow night, and that, along with Omega's victory, building towards the inevitable meetup at All Out. And he's been, like I said, he's been consistent about that. He said that's the only direction you should go. And, when I heard him say that, now I'll give him credit. He did kind of look at the fact that there could be another direction they go in. It's not a direction he would want because even though he didn't say it, it would pretty much make the stipulation that Cody agreed to about 2 years ago null and void. Because if AEW is, according to someone like Brian Alvarez and many others, or several others, if AEW is credited for doing something, credited, I should say, for doing something right, it's basically sticking to the stipulations that are given. When it comes to certain matches. For example, Cody Rhodes. Alex said that he's afraid that if they don't go with Adam Page, they're going to go with Cody Rhodes to dethrone Omega. But there's a problem with that. You see, when Cody didn't beat Jericho for the championship, Cody agreed that he would not challenge for that title ever again. And again, and like I said, if there's one thing that AEW has been nearly consistent of about 90, I would say 75% of the time, it's a heating. It is basically a heating, if you will, easy word for me to say, a heating to the stipulations given. And so far, Cody, in story, in context, in storyline context, on-screen storyline context, Cody has lived up to that stipulation. He has not once challenged for the AEW championship. Not once. Not once has he challenged for that. And even though he has a record that would allow him that opportunity, he has not done that. And Alex feels that if they don't do Hangman Page against Kenny Omega, they're going to do Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega. But if they do that, and Alex, if you watch this, if they do this, they would be basically making the stipulation that Cody agreed to 2 years ago null and void. They would be nullifying that stipulation. And by doing so, if the AEW faithful and the hardcore wrestling fans are faithful to AEW, AEW would get so much flack for that decision. Because they'd basically be calling them out. They'd be saying, well, wait a minute, what about that stipulation? Cody's not supposed to challenge. He agreed never to challenge again if he didn't beat Jericho. So if they were to do that, it would cause a lot of backlash on him. Now, from a storyline perspective, they could say Cody's going to use his power as EVP, head EVP, I guess, to nullify the decision. He's going to go after the belt, that way. They could use a storyline explanation that he's going to use his EVP power to do it, to nullify it and do it because he feels he's the only person on the roster to, basically take the belt away from Omega. They could go with that, and maybe that would make a little sense because it plays into sort of a reality-based like situation, and maybe even plays into the tension that people say is going on between the all four parties behind the scenes. So they could do that. They could do that, and again, that would probably work in their favor. It would. Whoa, almost did something there. Sorry. But like I said, it would probably work in their favor. There is no doubt about that. In my opinion, it would probably play in their favor. But even if they were to do that, even if they were to say, hey, we're going to, from a storyline perspective, we're going to do it like this. We're going to basically have Cody pull out his EVP card and use that to nullify the stipulation to get a shot at Omega. Honestly, they would still get flack for it. They would still get flack for it. There's no doubt, even if they had a storyline explanation. So that's one thing, Alex, you need to remember. Cody agreed that if he couldn't beat Jericho, he would never challenge for the belt again. No matter who was the champ. No matter who was the champ. Period. He would not challenge, ever again. So I would rule out Cody challenging for that belt unless, as Alex pointed out in his preview, unless Cody goes heel, then from a storyline explanation, yeah, that would explain why he would want to nullify that decision because, hey, he's a heel now and he can do whatever he wants. Okay, fine. That makes sense. Being a heel, turning heel and being a heel, he could pull basically a very, I guess as Jeff Siegel of OTRS says, a very dickish move, if you will, to get him a title shot. But, getting back onto what I was saying, a lot of folks feel, not a lot of folks, but there are a lot of fans, casual fans, sometimes hardcore fans, if you will, even AEW faithful fans, that when they hear what someone like Alex would say in his predictions, or someone like Solow Monster would say in their predictions, they basically would call them, they would at least attempt to call them out. And there are many times that they do, or several times, very noticeable times they do. And the reason they would call them out is because they would basically say to them that this is what they want, that they don't know what's going on. This is what they want. That, oh, you're only saying that because it's what you want. You're not seeing the bigger picture and all that. They would basically try to correct their opinions. They would try to correct the opinions of a Just Alex, of a Solow Monster, if you will, on who they feel is going to win the match and how they feel it should go afterwards, like what direction it should go afterwards. They try to basically, blasphemify. They try to basically blasphemy them, blasphemy, if you will, blasphemy, what do you want to call it? They try to blasphemy them for just giving an opinion. And these are the same kind of fans sometimes, even the AEW faithful at times, as crazy as that sounds, that, would do this, that they would call them out. Like I said, going back to what he said about the, his opinion about the triple threat, that's his opinion. He's been consistent with it, and he's not the only one. Jason Solomon of the Solomon Sounds Off podcast has been the same way. They all feel from a storyline continuity perspective, it makes sense that Adam Page is the one that beats Omega. But yet you have others that are like, oh, that's only what you want. They may change their minds and go with somebody else. And that's what, Alex was also pointing out that they may go with Cody, but then I could already see people saying, well, did you forget there's a stipulation, Alex? There's a stipulation. It can't go with Cody. They'll go with somebody else. But the question is, who would they go with? Who would they build up in AEW to take the belt? Christian? Okay, maybe. Brian Cage? Perhaps. Darby Allin? Maybe even as a final hurrah, give it to Sting? Who knows? Or go back to Moxley? Who knows? One more run for Jericho? Who knows? Sammy Guevara? Jake Hager? Santana Ortiz? Who knows? MJF? Everybody's pointing towards MJF. You know, it could be anybody. And that's the one thing they try to, correct the opinion of Alex and Solomon and all them because of the fact that, when they hear them, consistently talking about it's gonna lead to this, it has to lead to this. It's obvious it's leading to this. They basically try to come out and blast them with a correction of, oh, you don't know that. That's what you want. That's what you want. It's not what they probably want, but it's what you want. Or it's not what everybody else probably wants, but it's what you want. And so what if it is? What if it is what they want? That's their opinion. You can't correct them and make them think the same wavelength as anybody else. When I'm about to give my predictions, it's my opinion on how I feel, about how I feel, and who I see potentially walking out with the championship, and that's it. That's it. I don't see, I don't see into what's, how it's going to lead into something later on unless I feel the need to, give explanation, which I probably will, or give a reasoning, like I probably will. But the thing is, honestly, it's, it's their opinion. It's all that matters. It's their opinion. Would they like the direction they may go in that's against theirs? Probably not. But again, it's their opinion on what they feel would be the right course to go in. Just because they go right and AEW decides to go left doesn't mean it's going to upset them and make them stop watching AEW. They're just giving their opinions on how they feel it should go. It's the same thing when he talked about the tag team title match. He's going with the Young Bucks because he feels that the team that should beat them should be Jurassic Express. And when he gets up like this, he's trying to emphasize and in his mind, his point of view, try to send that message as clear as day to Tony Khan and the rest of the AEW booking staff and say, hold the belts till All Out. Hold the belts for Jurassic Express. Do it that way. Makes sense. Same thing with Omega. When he and Solomon and others do these kind of things, when they get close to the mic or they get close to the mic or they get close to the camera, and they say, this is what they need to do and that's why, and all that, it's because because in their mind, from their point of view, they're trying to send a message that they hope Tony Khan and the AEW booking staff will, hear and take the advice of. That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing. And it may not be taken into consideration. They may not even notice or even pay attention to it. But it's their opinion. It's their opinion on how they feel certain things should go. And that's it. And hello, My Little Pony fan Jason. Thank you for joining me in the live chat. Super chats are on, guys, if you want to donate there, as well as at patreon.com/BWRoses. But anyway, like I said, it's their opinion. It is their opinion. You can't fault them for that. If they feel something should go one way, then that's just an opinion. That's it. I mean, honestly, I'll be straight. I'll shoot with you here. I'll be honest. If AEW Tony Khan decided, here, Alex, you're the booker for the rest of the year. How would you want to book things? I'm sure Alex would be like, oh, okay, Omega wins, Omega wins, Omega wins, all out. Paige dominates Omega, wins the title, has a 2-year title reign, or has a 7-month title reign, or whatever. Same thing with the Buck. Same thing maybe with the Young Bucks. Young Bucks retain over Moxley. They retain all that. They lose it to Jurassic Express, and then they go to separate race, become different, become single stars and all that. There's no doubt in my mind that if given the opportunity, someone like Alex, and no offense, Alex, if you're watching, no offense, my friend, but someone like him would be like, okay, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is. He would book it all the way up to All Out. He would probably book the way a match between Omega and Page would go, because it's what he would want. It's what he would like to see, because from his point of view, from Solomonster's point of view, from Greg Morgan, OTRS Central, Brian Zane, who I gotta send a link of this to later. From everybody's point of view, if they were given the booking sheet to book long term for the rest of the year, they'd book it the way they believe people would want it, and basically, they would book it the way they would want, because if they feel, in their point of view, it's what other fans would want, or something like that. And again, no offense, guys, no offense whatsoever. Yes, I did see those. He's just asking me some questions here on the MLP. I'll probably do something later on. I got most of the place to myself right now because, excuse me, my mom is with my sisters and my niece right now, checking out wedding dresses at a bridal shop in Modesto, because my niece is getting married next year, in the fall, I believe, unless things change again. It was supposed to be around Valentine's Day, and then they changed it to something. They said they moved it up, but I'm thinking, moved it up, doesn't that mean like September of this year? No, they moved it up, or moved it down, I should say, to September of next year. So we'll see. I gotta make sure I get that corrected. But anyway, like I said, and again, I said that, guys, with no disrespect, no offense, guys, but it's just, again, there's no doubt that if they were given the booking opportunity to book long term, that they would book it the way they would want, because from their point of view, they believe that's also how other fans would want it. And that's pretty much, in my opinion, because that's what I'm talking about here. That's the subject I'm talking about here. That's, in my opinion, that's what they would do. They would do that. There's no doubt. There is no doubt. It's kind of like, basically, if you were to give each and every one of them, yeah, well, they went a different route, my friend. But that's what the fandom's up for. But anyway, like I said, what was I saying? Oh yeah, but like I said, it's kind of like if WWE was to give them the booking sheet for Monday Night Raw. You cannot tell me that Alex Hicks, Jason Solomon, JD from NY206, Jeff Siegel, the Slag Daddy of OTR Central, you cannot tell me if they were given the booking sheet to book Monday Night Raw long term, that they would book it in a way they would want, because they believe that's how other fans would want it from their point of view. Because they would. They would be, from their point of view, from their own opinion, be booking it in a way they feel, from their opinion and point of view, others would want it. And that's what this is about here. That's what this is about here. It's about opinion. So when someone like Alex, gives his opinion on something and says, this is how it should go, this is what it's leading to, it has to lead to this, that's his opinion. That's what he would like to see. And he's not alone in it. He and several other fans would like to see that, because it makes sense. It's his opinion. It's their opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but that's how it is. That's how it is. But besides that, the thing is, you know, like I said, you can't convince somebody to change their opinion because you feel that they're not seeing the bigger picture. And they may not be seeing the bigger picture, but again, it's about opinion. That's what predictions and previews are about. It's about predicting how you see it going and why you see it going, and and by saying and by basically predicting who you see winning and how you see it going directively afterwards. Basically, that's them giving their opinion. It may not be what happens exactly, tomorrow night, but it's them giving their opinion overall, and that's it. That's it. But with that said, this is just something I had to talk about because because again, like I said, people need to understand whether they're casual fans, semi-hardcore fans, or even AEW faithful fans that are doing this, that are trying to attempt to call these guys out over their own opinions. They need to understand that that's all it is. It's opinion. It's how they would want to see it. It's how they feel. You know, it's what they would like to see, and in a crazy way, and in a very coincidental way, not crazy, but coincidental way. There's a lot of other fans that would agree with them. So, yeah, it's just a matter of opinion. It's just a matter of opinion. Yeah, I think Sunstreaker is voiced by Corey Button in Revenge of the Fallen. Yeah, he's just asking me some non-AEW questions. I'll probably talk about them later, or at least do something later anyway. But anyway, yeah, it's just a matter of opinion, and that is it. That is it, and I I can't say any more than that. I can't say any more than that. It's just them giving their opinion, and we just need to respect that. That's it. So, because again, it's just how they would like to see it, how they feel it should go. And like I said, coincidentally, there's a lot of other fans that agree with them. Doesn't mean that, because they want to go see AEW go right, that AEW is not going to go left instead. Who's to say? Who's to say? Just because they want AEW to go in the right direction, and AEW decides to take a left turn, will they be upset with it? Will they stop watching? No. They'll just be a little disappointed. They'll be like, "Huh, you had the opportunity to do this, but you didn't." So yeah, it's based on opinion. It's based on opinion, and that's what you have to accept. It's based on opinion and nothing else, and that's about it. I don't know if he's voiced by Frank Welker, but anyway, though, with that said, guys, just want to, like I said, get that off my chest. I know I went a bit with that. That's my apologies, but again, it's just something I had to get off my chest there. So anyway, though, let's get into some predictions and previews for AEW Double or Nothing tomorrow night. Oh, and by the way, I do want to talk about one thing. I'm surprised Alex didn't really touch upon this unless he did at the beginning. I have to go rewatch it. But this was actually 2 days. He did this prediction about a day or two before. But there's a report going around that WWE, courtesy of Nick Khan, has been in talks with New Japan Pro Wrestling about being the exclusive American partner for New Japan. And the rumor is that this deal would allow for not only New Japan stars to come over and be in WWE, but it would also allow WWE stars, even top stars, to go compete for New Japan. And this is obviously been going. These talks have obviously been going on for months. And last night, on the pre-show, on the online pre-show, I believe, for a special Friday night Dynamite because they were preempted on Wednesday because of the NBA playoffs. Not Nick Khan, but Tony Khan on camera addressed this. He addressed it, and he pointed out a lot of things that have happened between that time frame of those 2 months. How he's had the IWGP US champ on his show, how he's had it defended on his show, how this has happened, how that has happened. Basically, Tony Khan called Nick Khan's bluff, is what he did. And he said that there's only room for one Khan in pro wrestling, and that's him, the forbidden door. So, yeah, Tony Khan, it sounds like, Tony Khan addressing this on camera, sounds like he just wants to, I guess you could say, stifle the rumor. And if not, prevent any business transactions between the two promotions from happening. Because honestly, Tony Khan's a businessman, and he realizes that if New Japan, if AEW and Impact Wrestling lose New Japan, AEW specifically, they lose their partnership to WWE. It may not hurt them it may not hurt them as significantly, but it will it will hurt their international appeal. It'll hurt their international appeal, but also in a way it would make things complicated. Because if WWE makes a deal with New Japan, then that means any American that holds a championship in New Japan that's not contractual to WWE, in a sense, kind of would be. Because, they'd be representing New Japan as the champion, but then that means even though they contractually would be working for somebody else, they could end up in WWE just for one title defense or appearance. And I think I don't know if Sideswipe's back. But anyway, like I said, it would make things basically it would make things convoluted, complex, very intriguing. Because imagine Jon Moxley. He's the U.S. champ of IWGP of New Japan. So imagine Moxley, being the champion, being the U.S. champion of IWGP, and this partnership becomes a reality. Moxley would not only be working for AEW and representing New Japan as the United States champion, but now he would have a loophole of a door open for him to step back into a WWE ring. But would he be able to step back in there as Jon Moxley, or would he have to step back in there as Dean Ambrose? You see, that's the question. That's the question. So it looks like what Tony Khan's trying to do is he's trying to stifle these rumors, these reports, before they get out of hand. Because if there is any truth to them, again, like I said, he realizes that even though it wouldn't be a significantly big blow, it would be damaging. It would be damaging enough from an international scope that they would have to do something really big to repair that. They would have to find somebody else to work with to repair that. So yeah, Nick Khan, not Nick, but Tony Khan, obviously, he wants to try to stomp out these rumors and everything. He wants to try to destroy this potential business transaction for a partnership. He wants to try to nip it in the bud before it happens. Because, again, he realizes the significance and the complications that it would cause if it becomes a reality. But, yeah, he called out Nick Khan's bluff last night. And I hope the Forbidden Door himself realizes that when you call somebody's bluff, you better be ready for them to back it up. Well, you better have a backup plan just in case they back it up. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Anyway, though, let's get into the preview, shall we? Let's get into this match. And in total, we have 9 main pay per view matches, 1 on the pre show. So in total, that is 10 matches in total. It has 10 matches in. I don't know if Rarity would be friends with Mirage. I think she's friends with RC. Again, he's asking me some MLP questions, and I'll probably address those later if I do, if I have time. Again, like I said, have this opportunity on a Saturday presented to myself on this Memorial Day weekend to do this. Anyway, though, let's get into the preview of the event itself. So on the pre-show, which is going to be on YouTube, on pay-per-view, because it's all part of pay-per-view as well. But on the pre-show, we have Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb, the NWA World Women's Champion, defending against Riho, the former AEW Women's Champion. This should be a good match to kind of get people energized, if you will, kind of get them in their seats, if you will. Kind of, get them off their feet. I think Serena is going to win. I don't think AEW wants to damage any partnership they have with the NWA right now, so I think Serena is going to win. She's going to retain the championship in what will be a good pre-show match. And again, this will be the kind of match that will help get people excited as they're coming into the building for Double or Nothing. So I see Serena Deeb winning and retaining the NWA World Women's Championship. Okay, so let's talk about the next match here. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I should say, let's talk. Excuse me. Let's talk about another match here, and that is the Casino Battle Royal for a future AEW World Championship match. And the participants are in the Casino Battle Royal: Christian Cage, Matt Sydal, Powerhouse Will Hobbs, Penta El Zero Miedo, Jungle Boy, Matt Hardy, Marq Quen, Isiah Cassidy, The Blade, Evil Uno, Colt Cabana, who I've met in person, Princeton 10 Vance, Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, QT Marshall, Nick Comoroto, Dustin Rhodes, Lee Johnson, and a mystery opponent. And a lot of people have been flirting with the fact that it's going to be Brian Danielson. I don't think that's going to be the case because I think Daniel still wants to stay with WWE, especially if he's the top free agent going. Especially if he's the top free agent that doesn't want to go to AEW right now because of the tension behind the scenes, the rumored tension behind the scenes with the EVPs. So I don't think it's him, although people would like it to be him because they have the mindset of, ooh, if they get Bryan Danielson, nobody could stop AEW. AEW will beat everybody, including WWE, and they will buy WWE, and all the wrestling will rule the world. They have that kind of. There are people that have that kind of mindset, and they believe someone like Bryan Danielson being in AEW would do it. But no, it's not him. It's not going to be him. Some have said it's going to be. Some have predicted that, it could be Paul White, and he would be the kind that would, he would be the kind because he is contractual. He is contractual not only to commentate but to wrestle. So, him being part of this as the last entrant would be huge because what it would do is it would kind of at least give him maybe one last big moment. But we'll see. But the other name being tossed around is Andrade, a.k.a. La Sombra. So we'll see who it is. We'll see who it's going to be. It could be somebody from Impact for all we know. It could be Rich Swann. It could be Moose. I mean, Moose has a shot against Omega at against all odds in a couple of weeks. So what if it's Moose? What if it's Impact Wrestling's Moose? He comes in, wins it, gets not only his shot against all odds, but as an insurance policy, he has a future AEW shot. You know, makes sense when you think about it. But yeah, it's kind of a toss up here because there are several names that stick out to me as to who could win it. Um, I know that Just Alex said that he would love to see Penta El Zero Miedo win it because that would be a great match against Omega if Omega's still champion. Here's the thing, though. We've seen Penta and Omega before. All in. Now I know what he's getting at. This is a different Omega and a different Penta. I get that. I get that, and I'll try to answer some of these questions later, my friend. Try to. This is I'm predicting. I'm trying to give some predictions here on AEW. No offense, but you know, I get what he's saying. I get what he's saying that you know it would make sense, if you will, for this new version of Penta and this new version of you know this new version of Penta and this new version of Kenny to go face to face. It would make an interesting matchup, probably better than the first encounter. But again, I just don't see it happening. I just don't see Penta doing it. I'm not saying that they won't cross paths in the future one on one because they already crossed paths several times on AEW in multiple matches, multi-man matches, tag matches, and all that. I just don't see it happening just yet for the AEW World Title. Another name that sticks out to me is Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy to me, I think if you really want to get him over as a heel, and you want to at least give him one last big opportunity, even if he doesn't win, and you kind of want to, if part of, ow, my ears just went blanky there. Got a notification. I got 2 notifications from Facebook. Let me check here. But anyway, though, like I said, I just, to me, I don't know if the plan would be down the line to eventually turn the Elite face. It would be interesting. I'll say that. It'd be interesting. I'll say that. But I don't know. I don't really. I don't really know if that would be again, like I said, I don't know if that's the plan, because if you're going to take a heel Matt Hardy with his heel faction and have him go against another heel faction, one's got to be a face. So I have to say that I have to say that basically I don't know. I mean, I'd have to say that I think the most logical sense is to turn the Elite face if they have Matt Hardy win. If Matt Hardy wins this. But yeah, he's another name that sticks out to me. That being Matt Hardy. And I'll tell you this honestly. This is the truth. Okay? You're going to get a moment in this match. Because they will not in Impact Wrestling at the same time, as far as I know. You're going to get a moment in this match where Christian Cage and Matt Hardy are going to come face to face. And that place, when that moment happens, is going to explode. Literally. Because they know the history between Hardy and Cage. So when that moment happens, it might be coming down to them being the last 2, But that moment happens, that place is going to explode. Now, like I said, Matt Hardy is another name that sticks out to me. Another name um, is Nick Comoroto. I think he's that big guy, that big kind of like Neanderthal kind of brute, if you will, that is supposed to be like a powerhouse himself, the muscle, if you will, of the factory. So I could probably see him winning it. It would be a surprise. Nobody would see it coming. So Matt Hardy, Penta, Nick Comoroto, QT Marshall, just to really screw with people. Like, he's supposed to be like this cowardly guy now, this comedic cowardly heel that obviously, because to me, obviously, this whole thing with QT is it's all about a world title match. That's all he wants. Let's be honest. That's what this is about. It's not about Cody, is a is a hypocrite and Cody's not doing this and that. No, it's not just that, man. It's all about a world title match. We all know that. We all know that. So yeah, his name does stick out to me as somebody that would be like a cowardly person that, let's say, could hide under the ring, if you will, and then when the moment's right and it comes down to whoever's left, he could just come in from out from under the ring, sneak back in, dump them over, and get the shot. I could see him doing that. So QT's another one. One that really one I'll put the other one that sticks out to me is Dustin, because his career is going to be winding down. So I think if you want to give him one last hurrah, even if he doesn't win, Dustin would be a perfect choice in my opinion. So I got to go with Dustin to possibly win this, or at least as one of the names that's a favorite in my opinion. But then of course you got Christian Cage, the one that was hyped up as the big signee, the big deal for AEW um, back at Revolution. And to me, he's probably the top favorite. So yeah, it's hard to. So yeah, in the end, it's kind of hard to pick because to me, you got these are my favorites: Penta, Matt Hardy, Nick Comoroto, Nick Comoroto, QT Marshall, Dustin Rhodes, and Christian Cage. Those are my top 6 favorites to win this. So out of those 6, one of them is going to win. And I think I'm going to do the safe bet like anybody else would. Going to go with Christian Cage. I'm going to go with Christian Cage. And I believe it's going to come down to him and Matt Hardy. And once that happens, like I said, that place is going to explode. And as far as the surprise entrant, again, I'm going to go with the safe bet and say it's La Sombra, a.k.a. Andrade, because it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, especially if you want to continue that AEW AAA partnership. And really kind of hype up the idea that, Andrade could get not just hype up the fact that Andrade has a shot at the Mega Championship in August, but that he could also have a future shot around that same time at the AEW title. That could be something that would imagine that. Imagine that. I don't think, Alex, you realize what could happen there. Think about that. They could have Andrade versus Omega for the Mega title at Triple Mania, and then later on, they could do the rematch, but it would be for the AEW Championship, and you could do title for title if Andrade takes the belt off Omega. So there you go. That would be interesting. That would be intriguing. I never thought about that until now. Never thought about that till now. So, but to me though, the top 6, in my opinion, besides the surprise person that could basically take that top 6 favors of mine and throw them out the window. The top 6 to me that are favorites to win: Christian Cage, Matt Hardy, Nick Comoroto, QT Marshall, Penta, and Dustin Rhodes. That's just my opinion. Those are my top 6 favorites. All right, so the next match, Hangman Adam Page, Brian Cage, a rematch. I don't know what that was. Hold on. Hold on for a sec. What's that? Oh, that makes it pink. Hold on, guys. I gotta let my dog out. I think she has to go to the bathroom. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I had to, like I said, let my dog out. She had to go to the bathroom. So, yeah, also give me a bit of a break, if you will. Let me just the mic there. There we go. Anyway, let me see. What was I? Oh yeah. So the other match is Hangman Adam Page, Brian Cage, and this is where a lot of people, like let's say just Alex, kind of says or kind of has given their opinion of, Adam Page has to win this. This is a rematch from several weeks ago where Brian Cage beat Adam Page. Um, it wasn't. It was kind of clean, but not straight up clean. But enough to where it's like now Adam's got to get his win back and stuff. And I know that's I know that's one thing fans don't like about 50-50 booking. And again, this also kind of ties into something that I said that there are fans that don't like the idea for 50-50 booking, but yet they'll look at someone like an Alex or Jason Solomon or whoever and say, see, you're being hypocritical, but now you say Adam Page has got to get his win back against Brian Cage and da-da-da. Isn't that 50-50 booking? Isn't that being hypocritical? And again, you have to understand that they're giving their opinion as to why they feel Adam Page has to win, because from their point of view, it builds to his eventual match with Kenny Omega, in the near future. builds to his eventual match with Kenny in the near future. So, so that's why they would say he needs to win. No, no, it's okay, man. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Let me answer these guys. Yeah, he's voiced by Corey Burton. Murad, I think, voiced by Frank Welker. I don't think Sideswipe came back. Rarity is friends with RC. Fluttershy is friend. I don't know if she's friends with Henry the Green Engine. I don't know. Wind Charger Tailgate is going to be in the Bayverse. I don't know. Wind. Either, I don't know if any of them in the Bayverse. I'll tell you that honestly, man. But I'll try to answer these later, dude. Don't worry. Don't worry about anything. I'll try to answer these questions later. I might even copy and paste them and put them on a WordPad and do a video later. All right? Don't worry about it. Take care of it. But yeah, this is why, basically a lot of, folks that feel that same way that, Alex and Solow must have feel, want to see, Hangman win the match because from their point of view, from a story perspective, if you will, it plays into, him getting his rematch with Kenny and them becoming. Yeah, you're welcome, my friend. Don't worry. And them becoming, not becoming, but basically it leads to him getting a match with Omega, and basically bringing everything between the two full circle from being tag champs to being, competitors for the world title, and also it'd be a rematch basically from the eliminator that the championship eliminator tournament that Kenny won to get a shot at Moxley back in December of last year. So as far as the match goes, again, I know people don't like the idea that a lot of folks are favoring Adam Page to win. And again, it's just their opinion, man. It's just their opinion. But in my opinion, I would have to say that if you really want to tell a story and you really want to show that maybe Adam Page does need the Dark Order, if you will, I would say that you have to go with Brian Cage. And you do it in a way that still makes Adam Page look strong, but also builds to that face turn you've been teasing about between Cage and Team Taz. Because Cage can win the match, but then he finds out through watching the replay that he got help somehow from Team Taz. So to me, it would make a lot of sense to go that route. One, you still make Adam Page look strong, but then you start really cementing the idea that, hey, we want to make, the Machine, Brian Cage, a babyface and potentially a top contender for that world championship, a top threat, if you will. And you do this by basically separating him from Team Taz because, like I said, you could show it on the screen that, hey, they cheated to help him win, and he didn't want that. He basically felt like he had it all well in hand. I don't know what happened to Chromia in the Bayverse. I think she got killed in the second movie. Again, I'll talk about these later. Don't worry, my friend. But like I said, you could do that. You could do that. And again, it keeps Adam Page strong, but it also starts building to that Brian Cage babyface turn to get him ready for a world title shot in the future. So to me, you go with Brian Cage, but you do it in a way that makes both men look strong, afterwards, but also builds to that babyface turn with Cage when he sees that he got help when he didn't want it. All right, so next match that we have here is one that a lot of people are looking at as a big, as Jim Ross would put it, hoss fight. We have the TNT champion Miedo versus Lance Archer, who's going to have Jake the Snake Roberts in his corner for the AEW TNT championship. And this is one of those title matches that's kind of a toss up because a lot of people have said that Miedo just got the belt, so you should let him keep it. But on the other hand, you know, unless you plan to have Jake betray Lance and go with Miedo, I would say Lance has to be the one that walks out with the title because you've been building him. Let's be honest. You for the past month, past several months, almost the past year, have been building Lance Archer up as this killing machine, and you've been building him up to an inevitable world championship run or a championship run of some kind. And even though he didn't get the job done against Moxley, I think he had a shot against Moxley. Still, you kept him strong even afterwards. You kept him strong afterwards. And now, in my opinion, it's the moment. It is the moment you have to follow through on that. Now, you could go the double disqualification route, the double count out disqualification route with these two. That should keep both men strong, although you give them a ridiculous finish. And then you set up for a future match where anything goes, winner take all. There has to be one winner, kind of. D. Vaccines in record time. Now we're getting back to work safely. But some in Washington just haven't learned. Hold on. Diminishing America's ability to develop life-saving cures and vaccines. I do apologize. It's advertisement. Oh, it's a bit torrent, I think. Oh, that, I think I know where it came from. I do apologize if you heard that, but I think I know where it came from. It came from the BitTorrent thing that I have. So they have these little ads on there. So, once in a while those ads will pop up. So I do apologize for that. But anyway, like I said, you could go the double qualification, double count out route, and basically, build to a rematch on a special edition, one of those quarterly editions, if you will, that they plan to do soon on TNT. Maybe Fighter Fest or Beach Fighter Fest or something in June. I think Fighter Fest is in June. I believe it is. Hold on, Google. When is Fighter Fest? Hey Google, when is Fighter Fest?
Friday, July 16th, 2021 to Saturday, July 17th, 2021.
July. You could build to that. You could build to potentially something in July, if you don't do something here. Or you could build to something in June, if you know what I mean. So, either way, you don't get a winner here, a straight out winner here. You could build to something in the future on a special edition of Dynamite, if you will, whether it's Fighter Fest in July, if you want to wait that long, or you got something like, let's say, what was it? A Beach Break, I think. I think Beach Break. Let me see something here, guys. You see something? Hold on, guys. Trying to see something from a calendar perspective here. So Fight for the Fallen, that would be the next one. So Fight for the Fallen, I think, if they do that in June, not saying they will, but Fight for the Fallen, if they do that in June and then Fighter Fest in July, I think between one of those, mostly Fight for the Fallen, would be the best option to do a rematch between Miedo and Lance Archer. If they decide to go what I think they're going to go with, and that's the double disqualification, double count out route, and we have no winner, but you still make both men look strong. I know that, nobody would like to see that. I know that Alex basically made it clear. I mean, he basically got right in front of the camera, if you will, and said, AEW, Tony Khan, Kenny Omega, you got to make sure all the matches are clean finishes. And I respect that. I respect Alex saying that because, if you really want to make sure that you start off on a hot foot, every match needs to be clean finishes, no BS. But unfortunately, this is professional wrestling, and to me, if you're going to be going on the road real soon, and one of your last events is Fight for the Fallen at Daly's Place, before you do that, or one of the first events on the road is Fight for the Fallen, then to me, you have to basically give them a match that's, anything goes, winner take all kind of environment. So to me, Miro and Lance Archer tomorrow night, I see them going to a double disqualification, double count out. And then I see that leading to a rematch in June when they decide to do another special event, because I think we're going to get one then. And I think that's going to be Fight for the Fallen. Don't quote me on that. Or whatever it might be. But I know during that special event, either it's Fight for the Fallen or it's something else, a special edition of Dynamite, I've got a feeling that that's going to be the match. If it's the first one outside of Daly's, outside of Daly's Place, if it's the first one, then they have to highlight it. They have to headline it with Miro and Lance Archer. Anything goes. They have to. And if they're going to Texas, you know what you have to do. Texas Death Match. Headline it with that for the TNT title. So to me, tomorrow it's going to come down. It's going to end in a double disqualification, double count out, and that's going to build to a rematch potentially next month on a special edition of Dynamite, whether it's the Fight for the Fallen one, whether it's the Fight for the Fallen one, or let's see I'm trying to see something here. See, let's try to cage their seats here. Okay, so it won't be till July 14th. So if you want to wait till then to do it, that'd be fine too. Or July 7th. July 7th in Miami, or in Cedar Park, Texas, or in Garland, Texas. It's up to them. It's up to them what they want to do. But if they do one more special event at Daly's Place and it's Fight for the Fallen, then they have to headline that with a, anything goes match between Miro and Lance Archer. They have to. They have to do that. They can even make it a Florida death match if they want to, which is basically a version of the Texas death match, but you get what I'm saying. So to me, you got to go with you got to go basically, and I'll answer all these questions later, my friend. Don't worry. But again, you got to go. You got to have some kind of hardcore related match between these two. Next month during a special edition of Dynamite. Whether it's like I said, Fight for the Fallen, or it's a thank you to Daly's Place for letting them be there for almost a year. Whatever the case may be, you got to go all out with these. You got to let these guys loose. So to me, Miro, Lance Archer tomorrow night, I think it's going to end in this double disqualification, double count out. I might be wrong, but we'll see. Then we have the Stadium Stampede number 2, and it's the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle. And the stipulation is if the Inner Circle loses, they must disband as a team forever. Well, I think a lot of people have been saying exactly what we're all predicting. And if it's very old school, the way Dynamite ended this past last night, then I think honestly they're going to go with the Inner Circle. Now, a lot of people have been saying that they believe Sammy Guevara is going to betray the Inner Circle and join the Pinnacle because a lot of the hints are there, a lot of the evidence is there. He's the one that submitted for the team, and everything. Or he surrendered for the team at Blood and Guts. So, a lot of people have their opinion as to what they feel is going to happen. But I think, honestly, I'm going to go with the Inner Circle. I really am. Again, because if you're an old school wrestling fan, and this goes for any promotion out there, and that is the fact that, when you end one of your shows, one of your main shows, with the baby faces being attacked before a certain matchup on a pay-per-view, or a certain big match on a pay-per-view, championship or not, that usually means about 75% of the time that the babyface is going to go over. They are. And it looks like that's what they're trying to do with this matchup. They're trying to tease the fact that the Inner Circle could be gone. They hyped it up last night as, this could be the last time. Take pictures, enjoy, da-da-da. You have to, this could be the last time, so you might want to get the pay-per-view. This, honestly, guys, is nothing more than a promotional way of getting you to buy the pay-per-view. And it's a great promotional tactic. I'll give them that. It's a great promotional tactic because of the fact that, they're trying to play up that you may not see the Inner Circle on Dynamite as a group ever again after last night. But I don't think the Inner Circle is going to lose. I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a miscommunication, or what's going to happen is the Pinnacle, just when it looks like they're going to maybe come to MJF's aid, I think they're going to walk out on him. I do. Because they are already they're teasing tension between them. They're already teasing tension. So I think the Pinnacle is going to either walk out on MJF just when it looks like he needs their help, or what's going to happen is you're going to get a miscommunication between them, and it's going to cost them the match. Now, I know some people say, one thing that Alex brought up was the fact that the Inner Circle is, 1 and is 0-1 in this matchup. But honestly, we thought the same thing, about the Undisputed Era. The Undisputed Era was like, what, 0-2 in War Games on the WWE NXT side of things? And what happened? They enter the third War Games and they win. So to me, I think the Inner Circle is going to win here. It just makes sense. Because one thing that NXT did, despite them being a little off at times, is they had the brand beat down on the Undisputed Era, for quite some time. They beat them down several times, even before War Games. And in the end, the Undisputed Era won. They won. So to me, I think the Inner Circle is going to win this. And again, I know people don't like 50-50 booking. They don't like it. But guess what? If you're going to eventually build, and I think they are, to a one-on-one match with Jericho and MJF with potentially the same kind of stipulation on the line, but this time for both groups, you got to have the Inner Circle win. You have to have them win. So I think Inner Circle is going to win, and I think it's going to come down to either the Pinnacle having enough of MJF and walking out on him, thus revealing that tension we saw is pretty much fact, or we see a mistake that will basically lead to his inevitable breakup or tension being built even more within the Pinnacle. So I'm going with the Inner Circle. I'm going with the Inner Circle, and I do apologize if I paused a little bit and anything while I was kind of silent. I was thinking about what I was going to say next, so I do apologize for that. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Inner Circle because they're hyping it up too much. That this could be the last time and everything. And again, like I said, it's a great promotional tactic. It gets you to want to buy the pay per view to see whether or not that's going to turn out to be true. All right. So the next match is one a lot of people are talking about. 6 years in the making, just about 6 years, 5.5 years actually. Sting competes in his first legitimate match in the ring, not cinematic, but in the ring, teaming with Darby Allin against Scorpio Sky and All Ego Ethan Page. And this basically started because Scorpio and Ethan kind of have a common bond of they don't want to be overlooked. They want opportunity. They're going to take that opportunity. They're going to take it, whether people like it or not. And they felt that the best way to do that is target one of the biggest, if not the biggest fish in the sea when it comes to Sting, and one of the most over stars in AEW right now, Darby Allin. And this ought to be a good match. This ought to be good. I know people worry about Sting's health, but if he can take bumps and everything, the way he's been doing, I think he'll be all right. A lot. One thing Alex brought up when he was talking about this match is he said everybody, including himself, felt the same way about Edge. They felt the same way about Edge, and was Edge making a mistake? And Edge is proving everybody wrong. I think basically the way guys like Edge and Sting and even Christian, if you will, are kind of working, they're making sure that even though they kind of take bumps and even though they're competing and they're taking bumps, that they're doing it, in a way that from a schedule perspective, works in their favor and allows them to heal up, over time. Like, Christian, he might do 2 weeks in a row of matches, if you will, live and taped, or do 2 weeks, or do a live in ring performance 1 week, take 1 week off, and then come back and do another. It works in his favor because it keeps him healthy. So, to me, I think that's what guys like Sting and Edge are also doing. They're using the schedule they have to keep themselves healthy, so that when the time comes for them to take the bumps, it won't be as hard. It won't be as hard. It won't hurt as much, I should say, as people are worried about. But I think Alex and others have pretty much said it best. This is going to be a match where Darby takes most of the punishment. People start chanting for Sting. That pops, and when he gets tagged in, that pop's going to blow the roof off, along with the Matt Hardy Christian interaction that I talked about earlier. Sting's going to come in. He's going to have his showcase, and in the end, Sting's going to end up winning the match for the team. Or what's going to happen is Sting's going to tag out the Darby Allin. Darby's going to hit the coffin drop, and then we might just get to end it stereo Scorpion Deathlocks. Thus, in a way, kind of furthering the story that Sting has chosen Darby to pass his legacy onto. So I am going to go. So yeah, I'm going to go with Sting and Darby Allin, and I think we're going to see a double sharpshooter submission to end the match. I really do. After a coffin drop. I really do. All right, so the next match is for the AEW World Tag Team titles. We have the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, taking on Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. This is a toss-up, in my opinion. This is an absolute toss up because, well, let's put it this way. Let's just put it this way. Everybody wants everybody wants um, everybody wants Moxley and Kingston to win. The wild things, as they call themselves, the wild things. They want them to win, and I don't disagree with that. I think that would be, I think that would be tremendous. I think them winning the championship would be tremendous. But again, it's all about opinion. It's all about opinion on how you feel it should go. And to me, honestly, I think the Bucks dropping the belts to Moxley and Kingston, even if just temporarily, I think begins what I've already been seeing, what I'm pretty much noticing, and I'm sure everybody else has noticed this, would basically start the process of revealing the cracks in the elite. And it's cracks that I think everybody's seen coming for a long time. You know, because think about it this way, guys. Think about it this way. As I go check something. Hold on. Just checking something there, guys. Sorry about that. Just checking something. But anyway, though, it would basically create the yeah, I know about the rarity and spike thing, my friend. Again, I'll talk about some of these later. Don't worry about it. But anyway, like I said, they could drop the belts to Moxley and Kingston and win them back later, and that would be a great move. That would be a tremendous move. If you want my opinion, it'd be a tremendous move because you know basically, I think if you want to get people's attention when you go back on the road, especially in Miami, if not in Texas, then having Moxley and Kingston win the belts, having them walk in to your first Dynamite on the road as the champs, and then maybe on that first Dynamite drop them back to the Bucks. I think that would work. And if you want to still push the fact that the Bucks are heels, or have people believe that the heels, then having them win the championships back in maybe a dirty manner or a controversial manner, I think works. I think it works in their favor. But also, if you want to show that the Bucks are more than just, flips and kicks, if you will, if you want to show that they're more than flips and kicks, I think honestly having them drop the belts to Moxley and Kingston tomorrow night, and then regain them in and I'll go, okay, go do what you have to do, my friend. Um, but again, if you're gonna have the Bucks, drop to Kingston and Moxley tomorrow night, then to me, the way you prove that they're more than just flips and kicks is you have them regain the championships in a match type that's Moxley and Kingston's specialty, and that is straight up ultra violence hardcore. Yeah. You go the ultra violent route with these guys, whether in Miami, whether in Cedar Falls, Texas, or Garland, Texas. You have them win the championships back in a rematch in a ultra violent hardcore match. Maybe not as ultra violent as people would hope, but still violent enough to where all the four guys get color. All four guys get color. You bring in barbed wire. You bring in tacks because the Bucks are used to using tacks. We've seen video of that, and you can find that on YouTube. These are guys that super kicked. You know, they super kicked Candice LeRae with a shoe that had thumbtacks attached to it, or even yeah, they super kicked her with with the sole covered in where they had a thumbtack covered a sole covered thumbtack shoe that they super kicked her with, and I think they even super kicked her with thumbtacks in her mouth. So they're used to it. They're used to that. But to really, like I said, put them over as being in that, being more than the flips and the kicks. If you have them drop the belts to Moxley and Kingston tomorrow night, and have them regain it on the first couple of dynamites, or one of the first couple of dynamites back on the road, in an ultraviolet or semi ultraviolet match, you're pretty much establishing that hey, these guys can get physical and dirty, and they don't have to worry about the flips and the kicks to win a match. They don't. And like I say, you can go all out if you want to in that rematch. You can have the thumbtacks, you can have the barbed wire, you can have the glass. Heck, you could even take a spot that Kingston and Moxley used in their title match and have the Bucks basically get doused with alcohol fluid. Yeah. You can have one of the Bucks maybe land on barbed wire or get hit with barbed wire or land on thumbtacks or whatever. And then you can have Moxley or Kingston come out with a bottle of alcohol and dump it on them. To me that would work. That would really work. And in the end, you would still have the Bucks win, but by having them win, bloodied and all, it establishes the fact that these guys are a legit team. And just like their buddy Omega, they're willing to go through any kind of match, take on any kind of match, I should say, to prove it, to prove them more than just flips and kicks. Because that's what Omega's doing. He's going and taking all these kind of matches to prove he's more than just a flip and kick guy. But for me, when it comes down to this match tomorrow night, the Bucks against Moxley and Kingston, I see it going one of two ways. I see Moxley and Kingston walking out with the belts, but only for a couple, but only holding them until like the first couple dynamites on the road, and one of those three events, they will drop them back to the Bucks in and what I would consider a semi ultraviolet hardcore match, or I see the Bucks winning dirty, keeping Moxley and Kingston clean or strong in the process, I should say. But I see the Bucks winning dirty thanks to the help of the Good Brothers. I could see that. But you know, but honestly though, if I was to go with one of the two options that I just mentioned, you know, Moxley and Kingston winning, or the Bucks winning dirty thanks to help from the Good Brothers and Braxton Cutler. What is it? Braxton Cutler and or Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakozara, if you will. If I was to choose between the two, I would have to go with Moxley and Kingston. I mean, yeah, you had Moxley and Kingston steal the shoes, and you would think, okay, that's going to mean the Bucks are going to win, and that might be true. But I think honestly, if you're going to build to the inevitable breakup of the elite, or basically the inevitable revelation that the Bucks are only in the elite to try to get through to Omega to help him see the truth about Callis, then you have to have them drop the belts to Moxley in Kingston here, even if you have them regain them later on, like I said, in a semi ultraviolet hardcore match on one of the first dynamites on the road in July. So between the two options, I'm going to go with Moxley and I'm going to go with Kingston. All right, so our next match, Cody Rhodes against Anthony Ogogo. This all stems from QT Marshall betraying Cody. And again, I think it's all because QT just wants a world title match. Let's be honest with ourselves. The way they're booking him and the kind of booking the groups around him, I think it's just obvious. I think it's just too obvious, in my opinion, that's what this is all about. This is what legitimately it's all about. He just wants a championship match. He just wants a championship match, and that's it. You know. He just wants a championship match, and that's it. That's about it. That's all he wants is a championship match. He's not going to come out and say, "Oh well, I'm just mad at him because I'm jealous of all the attention he gets." No, it's about a championship match, and that's what it is. But this ought to be a good match. I know Cody said that what not Cody, but what Alex said about this match is Cody's going to destroy Anthony. Um, I don't think so. I think what's going to happen is this, because again, I know that one thing just Alex Hicks has emphasized is he wants AEW and Tony Khan and Kenny Omega and anybody in charge of booking to make sure all the matches are clean. They have clean finishes, no BS. And I'm cool with that. I respect that, and that's how it should be. Especially if you want to set the standard not just for yourself, but for other promotions to follow when they get fans back, and especially back on the road. But again, this is But again, remember this is professional wrestling. Don't matter what promotion it's affiliated with. Any pro wrestling show, big or bad, big or not, when it comes to these kind of matches, don't usually end in clean finishes. So to me, I think this is going to be a dirty finish. I think Anthony Ogogo is going to win. That's what I think is going to happen. And then this is going to build to a rematch on Dynamite, which Cody will win. And then that will lead to a match with Cody facing Nick Comoroto next. Next in basically this gauntlet feud, if you will, because that's what it is. First it was QT, now it's Anthony. Next will be Nick Comoroto, and then it'll be Aaron Solow. That's what it'll be. It's basically a gauntlet feud that, in a way, I guess is. I guess a proving ground for these Nightmare Factory students to show that, hey, we've come a long way because now we're facing off against our mentor. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion on how I see it. But I think honestly, Anthony Ogogo is going to win, and it's going to be a dirty finish. I hate to say that, but he's going to win. It's going to lead to a rematch where Cody will get his win back, and it'll probably be a steel cage. Because that's what happened. Because that's how Cody won that one match. I think that's how Cody won that one steel cage match. I think. Hold on, let me see something here. Let me try something. Hold on. Cody Rhodes steel cage AEW. MJ, okay. It was Waldo. It was Cody Rhodes and Waldo. And that was for, of course, Cody to get a match with MJF. So that was for Cody to get a match with MJF. But it got him the match. It was basically a clean. It was basically a victory for Cody to get him his match with MJF. So to me, I think that's what's going to lead to. We're leading towards. We're going to lead to a rematch in a steel cage with Ogogo losing to Cody, and then of course that's going to lead to the next opponent being Nick, and then it's going to be Aaron after that, and we'll back to QT. But what this is a nationwide, worldwide, televised proving ground story or proving ground situation for these Nightmare Factory students to showcase their abilities in front of the world. That's what it is. Do they have to go this route? Did they have to do this? No. They could have kept it private. They could have done the Nightmare Factory thing with them on the YouTube page, because that's what they do. They have these little showcases and everything for the students. They could have done it there. But Cody decided, along with QT, that, hey, we have this big platform. Let's showcase our top students here. And that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And I know some people may not want to acknowledge that as being the reason, but it is. Behind the scenes, that is the reason. This is nothing more than a proving ground for the top students, if not the graduates, of the Nightmare Factory to show what they've learned. And what better way to do that than against the guy that taught them, or one of the guys that taught them? But yeah, I'm going to go with Anthony Ogogo to win this match. And it's going to lead, in my opinion, to a steel cage rematch on a special edition of Dynamite, probably, down the line, probably the last one in Daly's place. Who knows? Okay, so the next match is Hikaru Shida, pronounced it there right. So Hikaru Shida defending her championship against Britt Baker. So they celebrated 1 year of Hikaru's reign as women's champion. And obviously, a lot of people feel that that just means that she's going to drop the belt to Britt. And it does make sense that that's probably what they're leading towards. Especially with the fact that they presented Hikaru Shida with a new women's championship last night. So a bigger one. And the fact that Britt interrupted the celebration, the ceremony. It does make sense that that's what they're building towards. I mean, they've been building towards it for weeks. They've been having Britt win matches on Elevation, on AEW Dark Elevation, on AEW Dark, and on Dynamite. So, I would assume that Britt is pretty much being built up to become the champion. And this is a match that everybody's been waiting for since Hikaru Shida won the belt. They're like, okay, when is Britt going to get her belt or get her shot? This is why they turned her heel, so she can get her shot. This is why they gave her that finisher of the lockjaw, the mandible claw lockjaw finisher, so she can get her shot. But the question is, will they follow through on it? Will they follow through on her winning the match? And it's hard to say. It's hard to say whether or not they'll follow through on it, but I don't know. It's a toss-up. It is a real toss-up because we know Kenny favors the Joshi wrestlers. He loves them. But he obviously can't ignore the fact that Britt is, getting over with the crowd. She's supposed to be a heel, but the crowd is getting behind her. The crowd loves her. Can you imagine that pop she's going to get when she comes out? I mean, yeah, I get it. Just like at WrestleMania, everybody's going to cheer. The fans, that capacity crowd that tomorrow night is going to cheer everyone that comes out. They're going to cheer them no matter what. But she's going to get one of the loudest cheers in the night. She is. She's going to get one of the loudest cheers of the night, and that cannot be ignored. That cannot be ignored, in my opinion. But again, it's a toss-up. It is a toss-up, and I can't really say. Because Britt deserves this opportunity. She deserves a run with the belt. But then again, you got Hikaru Shida that just was given this big ceremony, this big celebration. And, you don't want to, kill that momentum, if you will. You want to keep the momentum going in some shape or form, if you will. You want to keep the momentum going in some shape or form. So I don't know. I don't know who you go with here. I don't know. Okay, welcome back, my friend. But like I said, I don't know who you go with here. That is the thing. I don't know. I don't know who you go with. Do you go with Britt Baker and finally give her moment? Or do you go with Hikaru Shida? I don't know. It's a toss-up. I know a lot of people like Solow Monster and Alex and all of them have come out and said, yeah, Hikaru, You had a great one, but it's Britt's time now. Okay, it's Britt's time now. Okay, give her the belt. Give her the belt. It's her time. Go. You've had your time. Go take a break and everything. You deserve it. Let Britt have a year's run with the belt. Go, go, go. I know that, and again, no offense when I say that, guys. No offense, but that's what it sounds like. But that's what it sounds like when it comes to a lot of people, previewing this show and predicting this match. They're saying it's Britt's time. Hikaru Shida, you've had fun. You've had your moment. Now give Britt the belt. Go take a vacation. Take a break. Bye bye. You've deserved it. Bye bye. But we don't know. And again, going back to what I said at the beginning of this live stream, a lot of folks that have basically blasphemized people like Just Alex and Solid Monster, for their opinions, you know, when they hear, them predicting this match and going with Britt, there's a lot of them that will, if not have, come out and said, "Oh, that's what you want. You don't know if that's what the people want. That's what you want. That's what you would want to see. That's what you want. You want. You want. You don't. Do you work at AEW, Alex? Do you work at AEW, Jason? Huh? Because last time I checked, no, you didn't. Because no, you didn't. So you don't know what they're gonna have planned. Because what you're saying is what you want. What you want. And again, guys, going back to what I said at the beginning, this is all about opinion. And it's an opinion, believe it or not, shared by many that feel Britt's time is now. So we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. It doesn't mean, guys, in the end, it doesn't mean that Hikaru Shida has to look weak in defeat. No, she could still look strong. You could have Britt win the belt dirty with the assistance of Rebel, not Reba. Don't call me Reba. You could have her win it that way and still make Hikaru Shida look strong. You can. Because, it wasn't a clean victory. It wasn't a clean victory. So, you still make, so basically you do that and you build to eventual rematch down the line. Like I said, maybe a rematch in front of the first on road in front of a crowd when you go back on the road. It makes sense. And maybe you add a stipulation of maybe it's a steel cage match, or maybe, and again, you want to do it big and everything. You want to go big, and really, get your roads, get back on the road in a big way. The Moxley Kingston Bucks semi-violent, ultra-violent rematch for the tag titles on one show is one way of doing it, and then maybe a steel cage match between Hikaru Shida and Britt Baker for the title is another way of doing it. It makes sense. It really makes sense. Now, there is something else that could happen. There is something else that could happen. And what could happen is, and I was thinking about this, I was thinking, would this happen? Would they do this just to turn Britt face, keep the belt on Hikaru Shida, and split them off into different feuds? Because I was thinking about this, and I was wondering, would they have Rebel, don't call me Reba, betray Britt? Makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. Because think about it from an experience standpoint, Rebel has more experience. She does. And when you think about it, Britt, from her perspective and story, has never really given her anything rewarding, if you will. Has never given her an opportunity to go for the title. So what better way, and sorry if there was any lag there, what better way for Rebel to of not Rebel, but what better way to turn Britt face than to have Rebel cost it a match, unbeknownst to Hikaru Shida. I'm just saying. Because I think honestly, here's the truth. I think honestly, what they want to do is they want to have Hikaru Shida drop that belt to Jade Cartwheel, to, to Jade, to, to Jade, to Jade Cartgirl, Cartwheel. Ugh. Sorry if I pronounced the last name wrong, but I think that's the plan. I think honestly, they have three ways of going with this. They either have Hikaru Shida retain, keep the momentum going, if you will, based off the celebration, or you go with Britt winning, which a lot of people hope and predict is going to happen, and feel it's obvious, just the way it's being built up. Or you have Hikaru Shida retain with assistance unbeknownst to her by Rebel, who betrays Britt because Britt never let her get a shot at the title, never really appreciated her, and they could probably do that. And then by that happening, you spin both into the separate areas because you have Hikaru Shida's next opponent be Jade Cotwell. Cotgirl. You have her next opponent be Jade. I'll just call it Jade. And again, that seems to be what they're obviously building towards. Because what sense does it make if you put the belt on Britt and the person to take it off her is Jade? Unless you plan to turn Jade face, I obviously see the only logical sense is for Jade to beat Hikaru Shida. So to me, there's three options, three directions for them to go. Either Hikaru Shida retains clean, Britt Baker wins clean, or actually it's four options. It's four options when I think about it. You either have Hikaru Shida win clean, Britt Baker wins clean, Britt Baker wins, but with the assistance from Rebel, thus, dirty win, but you get, to win the championship, but you keep Hikaru Shida strong and then lead to maybe a steel cage rematch on one of the first Dynamites on the road, or four, if you will, or four, you have Hikaru Shida win with the assistance unbeknownst to her by Rebel, who betrays Britt because she feels she's not appreciated because Britt didn't let her have a shot at the title. And then you spin Britt and Rebel into their own feud with each other, and then you line up Jade Cartgirl. You line up Jade as Hikaru Shida's next opponent. In fact, you have Hikaru Shida get attacked by Jade after the match. And there you go. There you go. See, what are you saying here? No. I did not see that. But yeah, but like I said, you have four options. And that's why this match, I can't pick a winner. I can't really pick a winner. I can't. Because I think they have four directions they can go in. Hikaru Shida wins clean. Britt Baker wins clean. Britt Baker wins dirty, but you keep Hikaru Shida strong and does lead to maybe a steel cage rematch on one of the first Dynamites on the road between her and Britt for the title in July. Or Hikaru Shida wins thanks to assistance unbeknownst to her by Rebel Don't Call Me Reba, who betrays Britt, and thus because she feels unappreciated, Britt never got her a title shot, and thus you let them spin off into their own feud, thus turning Britt face because again that's you got fans that love her and everything, fans that are behind her supporting her, and then you let Hikaru Shida start a feud with Jade Cartwheel. It makes sense. It makes sense in my opinion that Jade Cartgirl would be the next opponent. and you can have Jade attack Hikaru Shida afterwards. And there you go. You spin both off into their own feuds. So again, that's why to me this is a toss up. I can't pick a winner. And last but not least is the triple threat three-way dance for the World Heavyweight Championship of AEW. It's Kenny Omega with Don Callis defending against Orange Cassidy and Pac, formerly known as Neville in WWE. But yeah, it's Kenny Omega with Don Callis with defending against Orange Cassidy and Pac. And this is going to be a show stealer. This is a contrast of three different styles. You have Pac's style of wrestling, very stiff, very on screen, very serious. Then you have Cassidy, who's laid back, relaxed, just a chill kind of guy. That his whole gimmick is he doesn't take things too seriously until the time is right. Then you have Kenny Omega, who's basically an amalgamation of both of them. So again, the styles they mix well, and I've got a feeling this is going to be a show stealer. Now the question is, who walks out with the title? Well, if this is a three-way dance, then normally that means it's an elimination style match, which means it favors Kenny Omega. Why? Because I could see Cassidy eliminating Pac, and then Pac, out of frustration, attacking Cassidy, thus allowing Kenny Omega to win. So I could see that. I could see that being what happens. That Cassidy pins Pac and then attacks, and then Pac, out of frustration and anger, attacks Cassidy, and that leads to Kenny Omega beating Cassidy. Thus, Cassidy is literally handed to Omega on a silver platter by Pac, who's doing it out of frustration, not as a favor or, oh, we're friends now and everything with Omega, but he's doing it out of frustration and anger. But yeah, this match, I will agree, is going to be a show stealer. It might be a match of the year candidate. But the way I see the outcome going, I think it's too predictable that Cassidy is going to pin Pac, and then Pac's going to attack Cassidy, and that's going to set up Omega to come in, hit the V trigger, and then the One Wing Angel to win the match. So to me, I will go, like what everybody would say, with the safe bet that Kenny Omega will win the will win the main event and retain his title. Now they could surprise us and put the belt on Cassidy, but I don't think Cassidy would hold it that long. I think he would drop it back to Omega. But we'll see what happens. We will see what occurs in the match, but it ought to be really good. And again, I expect Kenny Omega to retain, and I expect him to retain clean. That's right, clean. And you might say, well, wait a minute. If Pac attacks Cassidy, that's not totally clean. Well, technically it is, because Omega wouldn't have had to lift a finger. He would just see what happened. He would take advantage of it. And there you go. And besides, in a triple threat or three-way dance, anything goes. Nothing's off limits. So yeah, I'm going to go with Kenny Omega to win, and I think it's going to be because Cassidy will pin Pac, and Pac, out of frustration, will attack Cassidy, and that'll set up Omega for the win. So, yeah, that's who I predict walks out with the championship. It will be the cleaner Kenny Omega, because they're setting him up to drop it probably at All Out, if not sooner. We'll see. But that's about it, guys, for my predictions and previews for tomorrow night's AEW Double or Nothing 2021 pay-per-view from Daily's Place. The last pay-per-view, as far as I'm concerned, that's going to take place at Daily's Place, because the next one will be All Out, and that's going to be in St. Louis. Well, I think it's in St. Louis. Either that's Full Gear, it's in St. Louis. We'll have to see. But this is the last one they'll have at Daly's Place because a lot of places are now opening up. Finally, thank the Lord. But yeah, that's my predictions. My predictions overall. Again, um, as far as the matches go, again, I'm gonna go with Christian K. I'm gonna go Serena Deeb in the pre-show, retaining her belt. My top 6 favorites in the Casino Battle Royal: Christian Cage, Matt Hardy, Penta El Zero Miedo, Nick Comoroto, QT Marshall, and Dustin Rhodes. Those are my 6. Again, Christian Cage, Matt Hardy, Nick Comoroto, Penta El Zero Miedo, um, Dustin Rhodes, and QT Marshall are my top 6 faves as to who will walk out the winner of that Casino Battle Royal. Hangman Adam Page, Brian Cage. I'm going to go with Cage in this one because I think from a story perspective, it would make sense because, they're teasing that tension, that inevitable split between Cage and Team Taz. So I expect Cage to win with assistance from Team Taz, but then he sees what happens, and then that leads to the inevitable face turn. Afterwards, Miro and Lance Archer I see becoming a double disqualification, double countout, which will lead to an anything goes match, potentially in one of the final Dynamites from Daly's Place, which I would assume would be the June special event, which is either Fight for the Fallen or whatever other name they'll give it. I see the Inner Circle winning their match against the Pinnacle because either you get a miscommunication between MJF and one of the members of the Pinnacle, or you see the Pinnacle walking out on MJF because, the frustration they're finally having with him. But I do see the Inner Circle winning. I see Sting and Darby Allin winning the match against Scorpio and Ethan Page with a double Scorpion Deathlock submission. I see one or two things happening. I see Moxley and Kingston winning the titles, and thus setting up to a semi-ultraviolet hardcore match on one of the first road shows, Dynamite road shows in July, where the Bucks would regain them back. Or I see the Bucks retaining Dirty thanks to help by Cutler, Nakazawa, and the Good Brothers. And then that probably will lead to a match similarly down the line. We shall see. Then Cody Rhodes and Anthony Ogo. I see Anthony winning, but Dirty, which would lead to a rematch possibly down the line in a steel cage between Anthony and Cody. Well, Cody would get his win back, and then Nick Comoroto and then Aaron Slow would be the next. Again, to me, this is nothing more than a worldwide, nationwide students, if not graduates, of the Nightmare Factory Wrestling School. That's what it is to me. Then Hikaru, Shida, Britt Baker. Again, I see 4 ways this going. I see I see a clean finish both ways, with either Hikaru Shida winning clean or Britt winning clean. But also the other 2 ways is I see Britt winning dirty, thanks to the help of Rebel, Don't Call Me Reba, which would lead to a rematch possibly on the road in July in a steel cage between the 2. And then I see the 4th option being Hikaru Shida winning with the assistance, unbeknownst to her, from Rebel, Don't Call Me Reba, who would, in my opinion, turn her back on Britt, thus turning Britt into a full face ace right off the bat because you already have fans supporting her. So I see that potentially being a 4th option where, like I said, Hikaru Shida would win, but with the assistance, unbeknownst to her, from Reba, not Reba, from Rebel, Don't Call Me Reba. And that's leading to Reba and Britt going off into their own little feud, and then opening the door for Jade Cartwheel and Hikaru Shida to have their feud, because I could see Jade being the next one in line. And then I see Kenny Omega in the main event retaining the AEW World Championship over Orange Cassidy and Pac. But the way I see it happening is Pac's going to get eliminated by Cassidy, and then out of frustration, he attacks Cassidy. that opens the door for Kenny to come in, take advantage of it, and get, believe it or not, the clean win because he didn't really do anything uh, dirty to make it happen over Cassidy to retain. But anyway, though, guys, that's my predictions and preview for AEW Dynamite. I mean, not Dynamite, AEW Double or Nothing 2021 tomorrow night from Daly's Place, the last pay per view from Daly's Place for All Elite Wrestling. Uh, Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. Thank you to those in the live chat. Really appreciate the support. I know some of the questions were not AEW related, but don't worry, I will take care of that in a separate video later on. But let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. How do you feel about some of the predictions I made, and everything? Do you agree with them? Again, give me your thoughts down below. Again, this let me emphasize that just like with Just Alex, Alex Hicks, and Solomonster and OTR Central and all of them, this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but if you do, but if you want to, that's fine. But if not, it's just an opinion, and that's all I'm going to say. But let me know what your thoughts are. And don't worry, I'll answer your questions. Don't worry. But let me know what your thoughts are down below, guys, in the comment section. And I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. I'm out.